integrity, which you look at this particular Congress and all these people we're trying to fire, and you cannot say that about those guys or women. So it's a true privilege of mine to introduce Governor Ridge. He's now CEO and president of Ridge Global and doing a great job for the United States.
Thanks, Doc. Thank you. Thanks, all. Thanks very much. Well, it's a chilly evening, but thank you for the warm reception. I'm running a little late tonight because, as you can well imagine, there's been a lot of press interest in what's transpired over the past couple hours with regard to UPS and some of those potentially improvised explosive devices. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about Bob and Mary. Huh?
All right.
Talk about them about time. First of all, I have to tell you, driving out, I mean, I've loved being in public service. I've been in public service most of my life. A lot of people say that guy Ridge can't hold a job. I was a soldier, I was a prosecutor, I was a congressman, I was a governor, I was assistant to the president, I was the Secretary of Homeland Security. God, can't he stay in one place for a while? But one of the advantages of the last couple of services I had as governor and as Secretary of Homeland Security is people drove me around. I got to tell you, driving out here tonight with a MapQuest in one hand, I mean, I never thought it was fun driving in the back seat, but now I'm starting to think it wasn't so bad after all. I got to tell you a quick story. I just thank you. I'm going to do Larry King live later on, so I'm taking over your house because Larry wants to talk about it. Anyhow, the biggest transition I had from public service to the private sector was transportation. Think about that for a moment. I have all these people driving me around all the time. My days as secretary, I'd start like 6:30. I'd walk down the steps of my house. The car would be there. Military aid would be there. I'd read my briefing books. I'd go to the White House, talk to the president, and go. Cars around 24 hours a day. The last night I'm in the service, the Secret Service detail comes up and shakes my hand and said, "Mr. Secretary, it's been a pleasure serving you. Good night and good luck." Now, what's the good luck about? And I don't think, I mean, I get the threat matrix every day. I see it every day. Haven't seen my name on it lately, so that's no big deal. I realized the next morning I got up. I wanted to go somewhere. We have 2 cars in the family. My wife had one. The kids took the least car to school. I was stuck. I had no way to get where I wanted to go. Good luck. Later that week, I said to my son, that most of my kids are in high school, I said, "Son, let your dad have the car." I didn't say borrow. Give your dad the keys to the car. I got to go run a couple errands. I got the look. Mary, your kids ever give you the look? Hey, I said, I'm bloody leasing the car, pal. Give me the keys. He saw with a big smile on his face and threw me the keys. He said, "Dad, 2 things. All right, son? Watch where you park it. And don't forget to fill it up with gas. Enough of that frivolity, but it's a true story. So, but driving out here, I was thinking of what I could say to a group of people that already love Mary, who thinks he's a very special person, a great individual, great public servant before you were in public service because your activity in the community. So many people talk about public service as being something you have to be elected to. But if anybody, and most people here know your background, you've been involved in your public, your community, your church, and those interests for long before you got involved in government. So it's a great pleasure to meet you tonight and to be out here in support of you and my friend Bob Ehrlich. I also happen to know what secretaries of states do. I had one. She was a very accomplished woman such as yourself, although she had a different portfolio of activities. Some were the same, but I saw that you're involved in international relations, international protocol, engaging sister cities around the world, in addition to everything else you do. So it's a great compliment, because if you think about moving Maryland into the 21st century in the same aggressive way as it was moving under Bob Ehrlich and kind of been stopped and kind of reversed, you got to grow organically, but you got to position yourself to compete internationally. And what I found as I've moved, and now I live in Maryland. Boy, your tax is high.
Yes.
I'm paying twice as much in Maryland as I did, maybe even more in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And I kind of take a look around Montgomery County and I say to myself, how much of my fellow citizens in Maryland, in Montgomery County, are they getting a proportionate share of their income back? And the answer is, you're not even close, folks. You're not even close. So as you go out over the next couple of days, not only to recruit Republicans to the polls, but you might want to try to bring a few D's and independents with you, remind them that there's kind of a disproportionate emphasis on where these dollars go. You know, we've got this, I'm just going to say it. I think the Democrats have been playing class warfare too long. They're doing it nationally, sometimes they do it regionally, and sometimes they do it within the state. And you don't unite a country, or don't divide a state by dividing people based on economic grounds. And if you take a look at where Bob Ehrlich has been and what he did, you have a very good idea of where he and Mary are going to take the state. Pro-business, yeah, but you know what? People say he's pro. You better be pro-business. You cannot be for employees if you're against employers. It just doesn't work.
Right.
You have to think about where capital flows. It goes where it's less impeded, like water. And if you raise the tax rates, and if your workers' comp's too high, and your regulatory environment is such that it makes it very difficult for you to get a return on that capital, you're not going to hire a soul. So the bottom line is, I think there was a lot of momentum in this state when Bob was governor. In order to move that momentum along, I think you took a look around, there's a lot of great people out there that could be his lieutenant governor, but he found somebody that, again, was in public service long before asked her to serve the Secretary of State, long before she was involved in politics, and he made a great choice, Mary. You have an incredible record. And so I say to everybody here, my message to you this evening is fairly straightforward and simple. This is a dark blue state. You know it, and I know it. Now, I can't ask you to register anybody when you go by the cemetery because it's too late. But there are living and breathing folks out there. By the way, I remember I worked for a Democrat state senator when I was going to law school. I did a lot of his budget numbers, and I said, you know, I'm a Republican. He said, I don't care. Do you know how to do the work? I can do it for you. So I did it for him. But I remember he introduced me one time to a county commissioner who happened to be blind. I chair the National Organization on Disability, so I love to tell this story. Elected to office, even though he was legally blind, and he himself was a Democrat. And he told me one time, he said, Tom, you know, politics is tough. And he said, my staff asked me to do a lot of things, but he said, doggone it, I don't mind if they register him in the cemetery, but I'll be doggone if I'm going to go over and talk to him. So you got to be talking over the next couple of days. The key for you and your family and your friends, if you want to move the state in an entirely different direction that's pro-employee and employer, that understands that the marketplace is global, that the competition is global, that you're not getting your fair share back in Montgomery County, that you have to really, truly understand it's not us, it's not labor versus management. They need to be together against the rest of the world. And you need leadership, and bold leadership, and innovative leadership, and somebody that understands the enabling power of technology, and somebody that will tell it like it is. You got some fiscal problems in this state. Somebody's going to have to make some tough decisions. That's leadership. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? And what's leadership about? It's about a vision. What vision do you like better? Got to be Bob and Mary's vision. What about character? Well, we know the character of these two individuals is strong. Who would you want to make the difficult decision affecting your community, your family? You're here in support of the right team. So what I'm going to encourage you to do the next couple of days, dark blue state, you've got to vote. Everybody in the family's got to vote. If you've got a small business, I know it's tough to do, but you got to maybe just spend a little time talking to them about what their future depends upon. It depends a lot on the political environment and who would create a better political environment for them and for your business. Talk to those independents. You can win. I believe you will win. There's an enthusiasm among Republicans and independents that's legit. I do think, though, they're putting a lot more money into this race on the D side because they think they got a chance. They're pulling out of the governor's race in Ohio. I'm very involved in the governor's race in Pennsylvania, throwing some money there. It's a business decision. The last week or two, they start taking money out of some places and start throwing it into other places. Mm-hmm. So you have to counteract it. And the best way to counteract it is person to person. It's advocacy, your personal advocacy on behalf of this ticket. So, Mary, it's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to spend part of